101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have a special guest. He is executive coach and neuro management expert, and of course, an author too. He's the author of the book Vibrate Leadership, no other than Mr. Carlos Davidovich.
Mhm.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Carlos, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Okay, Daniel, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to be invited by you and to be in your podcast. Really, really thrilled to be here. And okay, I'm executive coach, as you said, and I work in an area that is, I call it neuro management because there's no any other better word to explain it, but it's introducing neuroscience in organizations and business. So I have my background in medicine, I'm MD, but also I was working in multinational companies as an executive for also 20 years. So I have experience, and I was in one moment I understood that I was able to bridge these two worlds: organization, business, and science. I don't talk about science, I talk about practical tips that how to apply all the information that is coming from neuroscience in the way that we can understand better ourselves and that we can understand better our team and people that we are living and dealing with. So it's I would say it helps a lot people to approach themselves and others in a more, I would say, accurate and productive way.
Accurate and productive way indeed. Mr. Carlos, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So let's talk about the vibrant leadership. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, to be honest, I didn't want to write a book because there are so many in the market. I never thought that one more was going to bring something really different. But after giving many talks and many let's say lectures and workshops, that's what I do on neuromanagement. I many times people ask me, okay, where can I read about this? And to be honest, I my credit is not about creating because I don't do research. My credit is about how to connect the dots, and in that way, I was able to bring information in a way that was not, I would say, connected before. So the book, then finally, I what I did is to transform all my workshops to a book, and that was very successful because people now can apply everything I was sharing with them, and they can have it and they can really apply it in their life. So what motivates me to do it was mainly people asking me, I mean, to do it, and that was what pushing me to do it. And then was an extraordinary experience for myself because of course when you write down your ideas you can see it from a different perspective. So in one word, what I try to transmit is I use a metaphor of different brains, of multiple brains, of five brains in concrete, and in that the purpose of this is to help people to understand the different narratives of voices that we have inside, because each of them are coming from different part of the brain, and each of them has a different purpose, a different outcome, and a different goals and objectives. So I like to use the metaphor as well that to be a good leader, we need to lead to learn how to lead first our internal team. And our internal team is represented by these five members, five participants, that each of them speak a different language. Makes sense what I'm saying?
Makes sense, Mr. Carlos. And the five brains breakdown. Can you briefly explain the five brain system?
Excellent. First of all, I want to clarify. Well, the way we understand the brains today is called the adaptive model brain. That means everything is connected with everything and everything is intertwined. So this is the newest concept. Anyway, for I would say learning purposes, I found out that classifying the brain in different parts based on some theories, like for instance, the triune brain of MacLean that talks about an evolutionary process in our brain that talks about three brains, no, reptilian very old, emotional in the middle, and the rational brain like the newbie in the block. Plus, we have neurons, brain cells in our heart. So we can say that we have a mini brain in our heart. And the most trendy lately is the brain that we really have in our guts. So those are the five, and each of them they have different personalities, different influence, and different way to express themselves to create their own objective and to reach their own objective. Make sense?
Makes sense. Mr. Carlos, how does your five brain model refine or challenge the oversimplified?
Challenge what? Sorry, Daniel.
How does your five brain model refine or challenge the oversimplified view of the
So
brain?
exactly. So this is just I will say is a way that facilitates very easily to classify, to identify, and to learn how to deal with our different inner narratives. So, to give an example, if the brain that is in control is the reptilian brain, let's say the most primitive one, that is survival, that will it's hardly that will take me to a good place in the communication with others because it's a zero sum game. It's about winning, it's about losing, it's about killing, it's about surviving. If it's an emotional brain, I need to understand what emotions are really in control. So, what I'm trying to say is if we can clearly identify each of them, then we can be in control and we decide which one to use in every circumstances at work and in life. So this is a way to help to understand all this inner dynamic that psychologists, I mean, they classify in many different ways. And I decided to do it based on different brains. And it's very clear for people. I coach, I'm an executive coach, as you know, and I help my clients to understand which one is in control because due to that will be the consequences in their life. And this is a fantastic process because at the moment that you recognize the dynamic and the pattern of each of them, then you know what to do. You know which one to use in each moment. And then really you can move forward in a much better way.
Very well said, Mr. Carlos. Very well said. Why why do most leadership models ignore how the brain actually works and what's the cause of this oversight?
It's a great question that is hard to respond. I will try to be, no, polite is not the way. No, let's do it. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So it's completely valid to have different perspectives and different perspectives that will feel personal needs. There are tons of theories about the brain, tons of theories about consciousness, and I think that all of them are sharing part of the truth. So still there is no one way. Normally you know that science changes through time. So even science cannot stick to one concept for a long period of time. That's healthy by the way. Because we learn and we evolve. So I I I would say I'm not saying The way I see it is the only way. I don't say it's the best way. It's a way that help. That's what I can say. So what I'm saying is I'm bringing to the table something that is that is useful, that's practical, and that really, really in my practice, I see the results when they can understand this model. So you can say, but there are many other models that can be effective as well. Yeah, this is the one I decided to pick and to choose. That's all. And with all respect to others, and I want to be respected in my own as well.
Indeed, indeed, Mr. Carlos. And how do leaders most commonly get derailed by their survival brain? And what's your go-to-go technique for regaining control?
This is very, it's a great question, Daniel. And leaders, to be a good leader, let's put it this way. From the 100% of inputs that we receive permanently, only one comes from the rational brain. The other, let's say four, in this case, talking about five. So 80% of the inputs that we receive permanently are in somehow connected with instinct and emotions. 80% of that information that comes to us. That is one of the biggest reasons why our goal in life is to understand those emotions in myself and in my team. So, what I'm trying to say is let's learn which tools do we have to deal in this world. And of course we say what kind of leaders are or what characterize successful leaders? It's knowledge, it's technical skill. The answer is no. That's very easy to get, even more and more. The technical knowledge about something. What differentiates successful leaders is their capacity to manage themselves and to understand others' emotions and deal with that. So that is what makes the huge difference. And that is something that people understand more and more. That's why it's so popular, let's say today, to talk about EQ, no, the emotional quotient. That is quite more profound than is normally taken. But we talk about IQ, we talk about AQ, and today we talk about a new Q that is called the AQ or adaptability quotients. All of them will help us to move forward and to get to the place we want. But if we don't start, and I know it's a cliche, okay, Daniel, about knowing yourself. I don't want to become philosophical. I don't want to become in this place, I mean, philosophical or profound. But knowing yourself, let's do it, let's say in a very simple way. Listen your inner voices, identify who is talking, and keep the control. So, because when the survival brain is in charge, we Houston, we have a problem. But if the emotional brain, the positive emotions that always are looking for a result and for solution, will team up with the rational brain, we are in the best place. Even though the rational brain is the most powerful one, I mean, this prefrontal cortex is the one that allows us to talk right now because of the technology comes from there. It's very interesting to know that is the brain we trust the less. So, regarding trust, we don't trust still this rational and technical brain because it's new and because we still know that the oldest brain, let's say reptilian, was the one that brought us here because it's survival. So that's why it's so easy that people can lose control of their emotions and run to the reptilian brain activation. And in that moment, there is a fight. Another thing very practical that I learn and I transmit to people is when the survival mode or reptilian brain is activated, the rational brain. is deactivated. So we cannot activate the two at the same time. We cannot think when we feel fears or under threat. Then, this is a very concrete example in the way that leaders need to deal with their people. Are you creating fears in your team, or you are creating a psychological safe space that people really feel comfortable sharing and bringing ideas, and they can really be creative? Because if it's fear what characterizes that team, the leader is not using all the power, no, I would say all the potential of the team. Make sense? I don't want to
Makes
derail.
sense. Makes sense, Mr. Carlos. So, as an executive coach and neuromanagement expert, and as well as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Great. My short-term goals, of course, is to create the fastest possible the ripple effect. So personally, I cannot reach too many people. Let's be honest. I mean, I can have, okay, 100 people. I mean, talking and coaching, but this is just nothing. But what I learned in life is that whatever you whatever way you interact with people, there is a ripple effect. That person will talk with somebody else, and you never know the final consequences of that. So let's be humble enough. Let's work with those that you are able to work. In my case, my clients, but it's a limited number of people. I mean, I'm just one person. And let's trust that the message that you are delivering to one will reach more people. That is my goal. And sometimes it's already happening. Sometimes people that they I never met, they are reaching me. I mean, because somebody told them about it. Somebody told to somebody, and somebody told to somebody. Okay, this is what I mean with this. But all of us, we are just, I will say, small pieces of a puzzle, right? So the only thing I want as a goal for myself is to do my part. And as a small piece of a puzzle, to find my place in the big picture and to stay there, because that we all of us we have one place to be, let's say, and in that place is when we can influence the most. Make sense?
Makes sense. And good luck to your goals, Mr. Carlos, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice of those people out there want to be a coach like you and also to be an author like you?
First of all, define your purpose. What do you want? Coaching is about helping, it's about supporting. And you know, I told you I'm originally a medical doctor. And sometimes people say, "Hey, you were a medical doctor and now you're doing coaching. How did you walk this path until here?" And I always answer in the same way. I keep doing the same thing. Medicine is about helping people with through prescriptions and medicine. It's okay. Coaching is the same. So the purpose, the final purpose is exactly the same, just in a different way. And to be honest, I enjoy a lot in the way I'm doing it now. To prescribe medicine is not so complicated, but to work in the way I work is a little bit more complex, right? So I recommend to people is to establish first of all their purpose, and second just define the first step, how to reach that purpose in a greater way. Don't Some people are very good in planning, let's say, 10 years or whatever. That's not for me. But at least don't feel the pressure that is too much. Start walking, because I never thought I was going to be where I am right now, and I never thought I was going to write a book. What I'm trying to say is sometimes when we put these kind of goals in our brain, that creates an opposite effect, because that will freeze us, because it's too much. No, no, no. How can I write a book? Blah, blah, blah. Walk. one step at a time, and you will see how you will start not only walking, reaching places that you never thought that you were going to reach before. The only thing you need to do is just start walking. That's my recommendation. And don't be afraid of what's coming because life knows how to show you what is the best for you.
Yes, indeed. And Mr. Carlos, before we continue our discussion for today, I want to shout out my ranking tops for the last 30 days because in Mali I got number 9 on the Apple chart. United Arab
Wow.
Emirates, El Salvador, Uruguay, Norway, Canada, Slovenia, Macedonia, and many more. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast because this podcast is created to empower writers, authors all over the world. Mr. Carlos, where do leaders typically struggle when applying this model and how do you help them overcome it?
This is about something that we all know, and it's not hard sometimes to put it in place. I will say everything depends on attitude. So, one of my key coaching question is asking, what do you want? Sounds simple, but can take many sessions until people can really define what they want. And then I try to check quite clearly what is the attitude, because then you will see if that person has the real possibility to reach their goals or not. It's not about how difficult it is, it's how much are you going to try. It's not what happened in life to you because we cannot manage what is outside. So we go through many experiences. It's about how you're going to deal with that. There is a quote that I love because it's the best quote regarding attitude that was said by Viktor Frankl, was an Austrian psychiatrist last century. And he went through concentration camps with really, really tough experience. And from his experience, he said, everything can be taken from us. Tough, very tough things can happen to us that we cannot manage. But there is something that we always can manage. Is our decisions on how to respond to that circumstances. How we decide to deal with that external circumstance. That is our choice. And that I tell you because there are tons of examples in the world, people with a lot of limitation, people with a lot of problems, but based on the right attitude. And the right attitude is I will try again. And if it didn't work, I will do it again. And I
Mm,
will push again. Oh my God, you can see miracles just because you have that attitude. So it's not complicated. You need to position yourself in a positive place inside and start walking. Am I saying that you can overcome every single challenge? The answer is no. I don't think so. But at least we need to try enough
mm.
to define if maybe we will not solve it. I don't know. But what about the effort? Because definitely we will learn a lot for the next time, or the next challenge.
Well, people, try and try until you succeed. Mr. Carlos, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. My abstract poetry in its second season, and my Book 101 review is in fifth season, Comedy 101
Mhm.
in second season, and Food 101 in fifth season too. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast,
Oh
Love
my God.
101 and Mental Health 101, and my Love Letters in third season, Movie 101 review, and Music 101 in each fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in first season. Please listen
Oh
to
my God.
them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Carlos, if you could give leaders one neuroscience back habit to immediately improve self awareness and team connection, what would it be?
Okay, based in neuroscience, empathy and
Yes.
analytical thinking, they compete to each other in the brain. You cannot be empathetic and analyze properly whatever you need to analyze. Good leaders or great leaders are those that know how to balance each of them in the right moment. Empathy, I said it in a funny way, is overrated. But if you are hyper or super empathetic, you will not be able to do your work properly. Take care. So, good leaders needs to know how to manage, I like the words balance, between the two of them and to understand their team better. So, in one moment, you need to be very empathetic to connect and build trust with your team. And in one moment, you need to stop being pathetic and start analyzing from your rational brain to arrive to the best conclusion on what to do. I think it's a practical tip.
Mr. Carlos Davidovich, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business as well as your book?
Mhm.
So, where do people get your book as well as your coaching, Mr. Carlos?
Okay, I is my website www.carlosdavidovich.com. There is a LinkedIn page, of course, and LinkedIn is the social media I use the most. And the book is in every single Amazon, Indigo in Canada, and all the places that you can reach my book without any problem.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Carlos because if you support him, more and more and more empowering coaching to come, more and more and more empowering books to come. So, Mr. Carlos, thank you so much for your time.
No, thanks for your invitation. Really, congratulations for all your work. Oh my God, I didn't know about how many podcasts you have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carlos. More to come, people. See you soon.
Okay, take care.